before Mars. They never saw Mars. They never needed to. The alien armada moved through space like a dark storm. Thousands of ships, layer after layer. Their engines burned bright, their confidence even brighter. For centuries, this armada had crushed worlds. No planet had ever stopped them. No species had ever delayed them. To the alien empire, Earth was nothing special. Just another noisy world. Divided, arguing, slow. Their scouts reported human conflicts, human politics, human weakness. The decision was easy. Earth would fall. Quickly. The galaxy watched in silence as the armada advanced. Systems closed their gates. Worlds hid their fleets. No one wanted to be noticed. Some felt pity for Earth. Others felt relief. At least it was not them. As the armada crossed deeper into human space, alien commanders celebrated early. There was no resistance, no warning shots, no desperate messages. Earth said nothing. This silence amused the Empire. They believed humans were afraid. They believed fear had already won. Alien war leaders gathered on the flagship, a massive vessel larger than cities. Its command hall filled with holograms of space, showing a clear path to Earth. One commander laughed. Humans always talk. When they stop talking, they surrender. The armada pushed forward. On Earth, the sky looked normal. Cities glowed at night. People worked, lived, laughed. There were no panic broadcasts, no emergency sirens. But beneath the surface, everything had changed. Deep underground and far beyond the moon, systems woke that had not moved in generations. Hidden docks opened. Ships without names powered on. Human commanders gathered in quiet rooms, their voices calm, their faces focused. This was not the first threat Earth had faced. It was simply the largest. They did not argue. They did not rush. They prepared. The alien armada reached the outer edges of the solar system. Their sensors scanned for defenses. They found almost nothing. A few satellites, some old stations. Nothing impressive. Laughter-filled alien channels. Earth was naked. Mars drifted ahead of them. Still distant. Still small. Alien commanders planned to make Mars the staging ground. A symbol of dominance. A warning. But they never reached it. Inside Human Command, a single timeline was running. Not counting down to impact. Counting down to response. Human fleets moved into position. Not one direction, but many. They did not form a wall. They formed a net. Alien sensors began to glitch. Small errors at first. Nothing serious. Then communication delays. Then missing signals. Alien technicians blamed interference. Solar noise. Human tricks. They did not understand. The first alien escort ships lost power. Their engines dimmed. Their formations broke. Confusion spread. But fear had not arrived yet. The armada continued forward, believing it was a minor issue. Then space shifted. Human ships appeared, not with explosions, not with light. They were simply there. Dark shapes, silent, perfectly placed. Alien weapons charged instantly, but targets kept changing, slipping, vanishing. Human attacks were invisible. Systems shut down. Ships drifted. Collisions followed. Panic began to replace confidence. Alien commanders shouted orders, but nothing obeyed. Mars was still ahead, closer now. Then the first major alien warship went dark. No explosion, no warning, just silence. That was the moment the armada understood. This was not defense. This was an execution. Human ships move with calm purpose, cutting paths, isolating fleets, removing command. The armada had trained to fight wars, not to survive them. Earth had not waited to see what would happen. Earth had already decided. As the distance to Mars closed, the number of alien ships fell rapidly. The galaxy watch feeds freeze. Signals vanish. Before Mars came into view, the armada was already dying, and the war had only just begun. The silence breaks. The alien armada no longer felt unstoppable. What had begun as confidence was now confusion. Ships drifted out of formation. Communication lines flickered. Orders arrived late or not at all. Alien commanders tried to restore control. They blamed human tricks, sensor ghosts, unexpected interference. They still believed this could be fixed. The Armada pushed forward because stopping felt worse. Mars was closer now, a red shape growing slowly ahead. They believed once Mars was secured, Earth would follow. But Earth was no longer waiting. Inside Human Command, the first phase was complete. Human fleets held their positions, not visible as a wall, but present everywhere. They watched. They measured. This was not chaos. This was design. Alien engineers worked desperately, trying to stabilize power systems, trying to reconnect fleets. Each fix failed, because each failure was intentional. Human electronic warfare flowed silently, cutting paths through alien systems, removing awareness, removing certainty. Alien captains began to report strange patterns, ships losing power in perfect timing, fleets separated at key moments. Someone whispered the word trap. The alien high commander dismissed it. Humans do not have this kind of reach. He was wrong. The first human strike fleets began to move. Not fast, not loud. They slid through space like shadows. Alien forward scouts vanished, one by one, without alarms. The Armada slowed. Fear finally entered the channels. Some captains asked for permission to retreat. Others demanded to attack immediately. The High Commander hesitated. That hesitation cost everything. Human weapons activated fully. Not beams of light, not explosions. Control weapons. Navigation systems collapsed. Jump drives locked. Weapons refused to fire. Entire alien wings were reduced to drifting metal. Panic spread. This was no longer a mission. It was survival. The Armada tried to regroup around its largest warships, believing size meant safety. Human fleets adapted instantly. They did not attack the largest ships first. They removed support, fuel, command. The giants were left blind. Mars was now very close, large in view, its surface clear. But the Armada could not reach it. Human ships closed the net. From the alien perspective, space itself felt hostile. Routes vanished. Escape failed. Human commanders spoke in calm voices, confirming targets, adjusting vectors. This was not revenge. This was procedure. Alien communications filled with fear. Reports of entire task groups gone. Flagship silent. Leaders unreachable. The High Commander demanded a full retreat. The order never reached the fleets. Human systems had already cut the lines. The Armada began to break apart, not from destruction, but from isolation. Ships powered down to conserve energy. Others collided. Some tried blind jumps and vanished. Human ships appeared at critical points, blocking, guiding, ending. Mars drifted closer, then passed to the side. The Armada had failed its goal, but the war was not finished. Human fleets began Phase 2. They struck command vessels. One by one, alien leaders watched screens go dark, felt the Empire collapsing around them. They finally understood. Earth had not waited for the Armada to arrive. It had already surrounded it. The galaxy watched in shock, as one of the greatest forces ever assembled was dismantled without a single grand battle. Before Mars was fully behind them, half the Armada was gone. The rest were trapped. Human ships held position, silent, watching. The message was clear. Earth was not defending a planet. Earth was deciding the outcome. And there was nothing the Armada could do but wait for the end. The moment fear took control, the alien Armada was no longer moving forward. It was drifting. What remained of its formation was loose, broken, uncertain. Ships that once moved with pride now floated like lost debris. Alien commanders tried to regain control. They sent orders, repeated commands, manual overrides. Nothing worked. Human pressure was everywhere, but nowhere visible. The Armada felt watched, tracked, measured. This was not a chase. This was containment. Inside the alien flagship, tension filled every corridor. Officers spoke in whispers. Crews avoided eye contact. Screens showed less and less. Systems showed errors. Maps showed gaps. Fear replaced discipline. The High Commander demanded answers. Engineers reported systems were being rewritten, not attacked, rewritten. Human code moved faster than alien thought. This was not technology the Empire understood. Mars now drifted behind them, ignored, irrelevant. The Armada had failed before reaching its symbol. Human fleets began to tighten the net. Ships that tried to break away found routes blocked. Those that powered weapons lost energy. Those that stayed still were isolated. Every choice led to the same result. Alien crews realized something terrible. Humans were not reacting to their moves. Humans had already planned for them. The Armada was inside a shape, a design, built before the first alien ship had even launched. Panic spread through channels. Some captains begged for permission to surrender. Others screamed for attack orders. The High Commander froze. He had never imagined this outcome, never imagined fear on this scale. Human ships appeared closer now, dark silhouettes, quiet, unmarked. They did not fire. They did not threaten. Their presence alone broke morale. Alien weapons officers reported targets locked, then lost, then locked again. Human ships moved slightly, just enough. Alien crews could not aim, could not focus. This was psychological, as much as it was tactical. One alien cruiser powered down weapons, hoping for mercy. Nothing happened. Another tried to ram a human ship. Its engines failed mid-burn. Human control was absolute. Across the galaxy, observers watched the feeds. Unable to speak, this was not war as they knew it. There were no heroes, no last stands, only collapse. Human fleets began disabling the remaining command ships, one at a time, not destroying, disabling. Ships went dark, their crews alive, but powerless. The Armada was being turned off. Inside the flagship, the High Commander finally understood. Earth had not come to fight. Earth had come to remove. Remove threat. Remove ability. Remove choice. The Empire had built power on fear. Humans had built power on certainty. The difference was now clear. Alien leaders attempted one final broadcast, a declaration, a plea, a threat. Human systems erased it instantly. The galaxy did not hear the Empire fall. It simply stopped hearing it exist. Human ships moved through the Armada, methodical, precise. They ignored wreckage, ignored disabled ships. They focused on structure. What made the Armada an Armada? That structure was gone. What remained were ships. Alone, some alien crews abandoned stations, waiting, hoping. Human ships did not board, did not attack. They waited. The silence became unbearable. Fear filled every moment, every breath. This fear was different, not the fear of death, the fear of being judged. Human fleets held position, as if waiting for something to finish. Then it happened. The last coordinated alien command signal ended. No more orders, no more hierarchy. The Armada was officially dead, not destroyed, ended. The galaxy felt it. A shift, a change. One of the greatest threats ever known had vanished before Mars ever mattered. Human ships remained for a short time, ensuring no mistake, no recovery. Then slowly, quietly, they began to withdraw. No celebration, no message, only absence. The alien survivors were left floating, alive, broken, confused. They had come to conquer Earth. They had never truly arrived, and now they would live with the memory that the moment humans decided, the war had already been over. After the Armada stopped, space felt empty, not because ships were gone, but because purpose was gone. What remained of the alien Armada drifted silently. Hundreds of vessels without command, without direction. They had come as one. Now they existed as many. Alone, alien crews waited. Some powered down systems to save energy. Others sat frozen at their stations, afraid to act. They did not know what humans would do next. Human fleets stayed nearby. Not close, not far, present. They did not threaten. They did not communicate. This was worse than attack. The alien survivors watched the dark human ships, trying to understand them, trying to predict. They could not. On distant worlds across the galaxy, observers finally breathed. The feed stabilized. The noise ended. The invasion had stopped. But no one celebrated, because no one knew why it had stopped, or if it truly had. Alien governments met in emergency councils, voices low, faces pale. Some demanded answers. Others demanded silence. What do humans want? Someone asked. No one answered. Reports came in from the remains of the Armada. Systems disabled but intact. Crews alive. Weapons locked. This was not annihilation. This was restraint. That frightened them more. The empire that sent the Armada no longer existed as it had. Its command structure was gone. Its fleet scattered. But its worlds were still there, waiting. On one former Imperial world, crowds gathered under dark skies. They looked up, expecting fire, expecting punishment. Nothing came. Days passed. Human fleets slowly withdrew from the solar system. Not all at once. In careful stages. The alien survivors were left alone. Adrift. Alive. This sent a new wave of fear across the galaxy. Humans had won and walked away. No occupation. No demands. No tribute. This did not fit any known pattern. Alien scholars struggled to write what had happened. They could not call it mercy. They could not call it conquest. It was something else. Control. Humans had taken control of the outcome, then released it. On Earth, life continued as normal. News channels returned to daily stories. Cities remained bright. Most humans never saw the Armada, never felt the fear. For them, nothing had changed. But in quiet rooms beneath the surface, records were updated, lessons archived, timelines reset. The response was complete. Alien diplomats debated sending messages to Earth, to thank, to ask, to warn. None were sent. No one wanted to draw attention. The galaxy slowly adapted to a new truth. Earth was not loud. Earth was not aggressive. Earth was decisive. Trade resumed. Borders shifted. Former imperial worlds gained independence. New alliances formed. Careful ones. Every treaty carried an unspoken rule. Never test Earth. Children on distant planets learned new stories. About the Armada that never reached Mars. About the ships that vanished without battle. They learned that humans did not need to shout. They only needed to wait. Some alien commanders studied the engagement, frame by frame, trying to find a mistake. They found many, but all of them led back to one: underestimating patience. Humans had not reacted to the Armada. They had anticipated it. They had not defended Earth. They had removed the threat before it arrived. This realization settled slowly. Deeply, fear changed shape. It was no longer fear of invasion. It was fear of causing attention, and far beyond known space. In regions no one watched anymore, something ancient stirred, a movement, a signal. Human sensors noticed. As always, no alarm sounded, no fleets gathered, just a quiet note added to a plan. Because humans did not wait for danger to grow. They waited for certainty. The galaxy enjoyed its fragile peace, unaware that it existed only because someone was awake, someone calm, someone ready, someone human, and somewhere, a familiar timer rested, silent, prepared, the fear that followed silence. Peace spread across the galaxy, but it was not the kind that brought comfort. It was careful, measured, quiet. Worlds reopened trade lanes. Ships returned to routine paths. Markets filled again. Yet every captain checked the stars more often. Every leader spoke more softly, because everyone remembered. The Armada that never reached Mars. Former imperial worlds struggled the most. Their fleets were gone. Their command gone. Their certainty gone. They were free, but exposed. Some celebrated independence. Others feared what freedom meant without protection. They asked who would stop the next threat. No one answered. Human space remained distant, silent, unchanged. No fleets gathered. No warnings issued. This worried the galaxy more than any threat, because silence had become a signal. Alien analysts studied human behavior, patterns, history, responses. They reached one shared conclusion. Humans acted only when necessary, and when they did, they acted completely. Years passed. Stories of the Armada became legend, told in academies, whispered in council halls. The lesson was clear. Do not rush. Do not threaten. Do not assume. Some species listened. Others did not. On the far edge of known space, a rising power watched the galaxy carefully. They saw fear. They saw restraint. They believed this fear was weakness. They began building weapons. Quietly. Hidden. Planet breakers. Star disruptors. They believed humans would not notice. They believed humans were watching only Earth. They were wrong. Human observers detected the shift early. Changes in energy flow. Unusual construction patterns. No announcements were made. Plans were updated. The galaxy did not know, because humans did not need permission. The rising power tested one weapon. On an empty system, the test sent ripples through space. Panic returned. Worlds began calling emergency councils. Voices raised. Old fears returned. Should we warn Earth? Someone asked. Another replied. What do they already know? They did. Human fleets moved quietly. Small groups. No armada. They did not enter as invaders. They entered as shadows. The rising power detected them too late. Systems failed. Weapons shut down. Leaders disappeared. No planets were destroyed. No cities burned. The threat ended before it was announced. The galaxy learned after the fact. Human ships had already left. This shook everyone. The 14-minute war was not unique. It was a pattern. Humans did not respond to threats. They removed them, and they did it without spectacle. Fear shifted again. It was no longer fear of attack. It was fear of becoming a problem. Alien leaders began changing policies. Wars were avoided. Conflicts negotiated. Not because they trusted each other, but because they feared attention. Children grew up learning new values. Restraint, patience, planning. The galaxy matured quickly, yet deep down, everyone knew this peace depended on one thing: human judgment. If humans ever decided the galaxy itself was the threat, there would be no warning. This thought kept leaders awake, kept empires small. On Earth, life continued, as it always had. Humans argued, created, dreamed. They did not think of themselves as guardians or rulers. They thought of themselves as responsible for what happened when lines were crossed. Deep in human command, a familiar timer still existed. It was tested, maintained, never displayed. It was not a weapon. It was a reminder that speed mattered, that hesitation killed, that endings were sometimes necessary. The galaxy did not know this timer existed, but they felt it in every careful decision, every avoided war. Peace held, not because the galaxy was kind, but because someone was watching, someone patient, someone capable, someone who had already proven that they did not need Mars to come into view to decide the fate of an armada. The truth written in silence. The galaxy learned to live differently, not boldly, not proudly, carefully. Years passed without great wars, without armadas gathering, without threats spoken loudly. Space felt calmer, but never safe. Every leader remembered the armada, remembered how quickly it ended. They understood something important. Peace was not natural. It was maintained. Human space remained quiet, unchanged on the surface. Ships traveled. Trade flowed. People lived their lives. Humans argued about small things, created art, built cities. To most of them, The war that never reached Mars was a distant story. But deep beneath that calm, watchers remained. Humans did not relax. They never had. Observers tracked patterns across the galaxy, movements, energy shifts, changes in behavior. Humans did not wait for threats to grow. They noticed them early. This vigilance was invisible, but absolute. Alien civilizations slowly accepted the truth. Humans were not rulers. They did not demand loyalty. They did not collect tribute. They were something else. A limit when ambition grew too sharp, when power ignored consequence. Humans appeared, not loudly, not proudly, but finally, the former imperial worlds rebuilt themselves. New governments formed. New cultures emerged. They remembered fear and chose restraint. Children grew up hearing stories, not of heroes, but of endings. They learned that patience could be stronger than force, that silence could be louder than threats. One young alien once asked a teacher, "Why did humans let us live?" The teacher answered slowly, "Because they never came to destroy. They came to stop." That idea spread, far beyond charts and treaties. The galaxy stopped asking what humans wanted and started asking what humans would allow. This changed everything. Conflicts were solved earlier. Wars ended before they began. The galaxy became older, wiser. Some said it became afraid. Others said it finally learned respect, far away beyond map space. The ancient darkness that had once stirred remained contained. Human watchers stayed near. Always. They did not destroy it. They studied it. Because humans believed knowledge mattered more than victory. This too was unseen. This too was feared. On Earth, no monuments marked the Armada. No celebrations remembered the day. Humans did not need reminders. They carried memory in their systems, in their planning, in their discipline. The timer still existed, unchanged. It was not dramatic, not symbolic. It was practical, a tool to remind them that response mattered, that speed saved lives, and that endings must be clean. The galaxy never saw that timer, but they lived under its meaning. Every peaceful year, every avoided war, every quiet sky was shaped by it. The final record of the invasion was written long after, by alien historians who finally understood. They wrote, "The Armada did not fail because it was weak. It failed because it was late." Humans had already decided. That line became legend, passed quietly, spoken carefully, never shouted. The stars remained calm, not because danger was gone, but because danger was understood. And somewhere in the dark, someone was always watching, not with anger, not with pride, but with certainty, that if the galaxy ever forgot the lesson, if another Armada ever came, it would not need to see Mars to understand that the moment humans decide, the story is already over.